There is a specific poverty that begins before the money even runs out. It starts when you work hard, but within days you have no idea where your earnings went. Bills arrive, prices rise, and the car breaks down. Before the month ends, your resources have vanished. You are not lazy. You face the traffic, the pressure, and the exhaustion to protect your family. Yet, you feel stuck in a cycle of debt and emergencies. The problem might not be how much you receive, but how you manage it. Multiplication starts with wisdom, not magic. Proverbs teaches that small resources, handled with diligence, produce fruit. You have time, experience, and strength. These are tools for change. In this video, discover 5 biblical principles to multiply what you already have through practical decisions. Subscribe now to transform your future with purpose. The first principle is clarity. Proverbs 27 says to know the state of your flocks. Today, that means your bank statements and debts. You cannot fix what you refuse to look at. Stop managing in the dark. Clarity is the first step toward regaining control and building lasting security. In ancient times, a man's wealth was found in his herds. Proverbs 27 commands us to know the condition of our flocks and give attention to our herds. Back then, a shepherd couldn't just guess how many sheep he had. He had to count them, check their health, and identify where the wolves might strike. Today, your flock isn't animals. It is your income, your subscriptions, and your debts. Most people suffer not because they don't earn, but because they don't look. When you ignore your bank statement, you are managing in the dark. Darkness is where resources vanish. You must bring every single penny into the light of awareness. The second principle is replacing haste with strategic planning. Proverbs 21 warns that while the plans of the diligent lead to profit, hasty shortcuts lead to poverty. Haste is the silent killer of stability. It makes you sign contracts you don't understand and buy things you don't need to impress people you don't like. Think of the pressure to keep up with trends. Haste tells you that you are missing out. Wisdom tells you that a solid foundation takes time to build. Diligence is not just working hard, it is working with direction. A man running fast in the wrong direction is only getting lost more quickly than others. Before you spend, you must decide the destination of every dollar. If you don't give your money a mission, it will find a way to leave you. This leads to the third principle. Do not consume everything that passes through your hands. Proverbs 21 verse 20 says the wise have wealth, but fools spend everything. If every raise in your salary results in an immediate raise in your lifestyle, you will always be one emergency away from a total financial collapse. True multiplication begins when you learn to protect a portion of what you receive. It doesn't matter if it is $10 or $1,000. By preserving a small part, you are training your mind for mastery. You are shifting from a consumer mindset to a steward mindset, which is vital. Before we reveal the fourth principle regarding hidden skills, subscribe to Eternal Principles. Join others choosing wisdom over financial chaos and taking control of their future. Write in the comments, I will manage my resources with wisdom. This declaration sets your intention and signals that you are taking full responsibility. The fourth principle is vital. You must multiply your capacity to produce. Proverbs 14 verse 23 reminds us that in all labor there is profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. Multiplication is not just about saving what you have, it is about increasing the value of what you do. Think of the ancient craftsmen who built the temple. They did not just work, they mastered their trade until kings sought their counsel. Today your craft is your wealth. You might have the ability to fix, create, sell, or manage, yet these skills often remain dormant. Ask yourself, what problem can I solve for someone else today? If you want to see your resources grow, you must first grow yourself. Spend time developing a new skill or perfecting an old one. A man who is truly skilled in his work will eventually stand before kings. Avoid the trap of easy shortcuts and quick money promises. The Bible warns that wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little makes it grow. True multiplication requires the patience of a farmer and the discipline of a soldier. If a deal sounds too good to be true, it is likely a trap for the desperate. Do not put your family's security at risk for the sake of greed. Now, look at this practical map to organize every resource that passes through your hands. Every time you receive income, divide it into 5 specific destinations. The first is provision, the essential needs of your family such as food and shelter. The second is commitments, the debts and bills you must settle to maintain your honor. The third destination is protection, a small reserve for the emergencies you cannot predict. The fourth is growth, funds set aside for books, tools, or training that increase your production. Finally, the fifth is generosity, helping those in need within your means. The fifth principle is simple but profound. Preserve your integrity and practice generosity. Proverbs 11 verse 25 declares that a generous person will prosper. Generosity is not a transaction to force God's hand, but a declaration that money is your servant, not your master. Never sacrifice your character for a profit. A small amount earned with justice is far better than a fortune built on lies. Wealth without integrity is a heavy burden that will crush your peace and your family's future. Start today with your resources. Never sacrifice your character for a temporary profit. A small amount earned with justice is far better than a fortune built on lies. Wealth without integrity is a heavy burden that will eventually crush your peace. De fifi principal is practicing generosity. Proverbs declares that a generous person will prosper. This is not a transaction to force a miracle, but a declaration of your inner freedom from the love of money. Generosity proves that money is your servant, not your master. When you help others within your means, you break the spirit of scarcity. You acknowledge that God is the true provider of everything you possess. To transforming these principles into reality, take 5 specific actions over the next 5 days. First, write down every single space. Do not ignore even the smallest transaction today. Second, cut unnecessary waste, such as a subscription or an impulsive buy. Third, set aside a small amount of money. The exact value matters less than the discipline you are building. Fourth, choose one skill to improve that increases your value at work. Fifth, help someone responsible with your team or resources. These small steps create the momentum required for lasting change. Perhaps you feel overwhelmed by debt or past mistakes. You cannot change the decisions of yesterday, but you can stop them from controlling your tomorrow. There is always a way back. While there is life, there is the possibility to reorganize and restart. Open the bills, face the reality, and seek guidance with a humble heart. Transformation begins with a single honest look. Let us pray. Lord, give us the courage to look at our reality without shame. Grant us the wisdom to manage the resources we have been given with absolute clarity and purpose. Teach us to be faithful in the little things. May our work be honest, our hands diligent, and our hearts generous toward those in need. Guide us through every financial decision from this moment on. Protect our families from the trap of greed and the pressure of haste. We trust in your provision as we do our part with full responsibility. May our lives reflect your eternal wisdom. Multiplication starts with the wisdom you apply today. Do not wait for a large amount to be faithful. Start with what is in your hands right now and watch it grow. Remember that true stewardship creates a path for lasting legacy. Never sacrifice your character for temporary profit. A small amount earned with justice is far better than a fortune built on lies. Wealth without integrity is a heavy burden that will eventually crush your peace and your family's future. The fifth principle is practicing generosity. Proverbs declares that a generous person will prosper. This is not a transaction to force a miracle, but a declaration of your inner freedom from the love of money. Generosity proves that money is your servant, not your master. When you help others within your means, you break the spirit of scarcity. You acknowledge that God is the true provider of everything you possess. To transforming these principles into reality, take 5 specific actions over the next 5 days. First, write down every single space. Do not ignore even the smallest transaction today. Second, cut o unnecessary waste, like a subscription or a impulsive be. Third, set aside a small amount of money. The exact value matters less than the discipline you are building. Fourth, choose one skill to improve that increases your value at work. Fifth, help someone responsible with your resources. These small steps create the momentum required for lasting change. Perhaps you feel overwhelmed by debt or past mistakes. You cannot change yesterday's decisions, but you can stop them from controlling your tomorrow. There is always a way back. While there is life, there is the possibility to restart. Open the bills, face the reality, and seek guidance with a humble heart. Transformation begins with a single honest look. Let us pray. Lord, give us courage to look at our reality without shame. Grant us wisdom to manage our resources with absolute clarity and purpose. We invite your presence into our homes. Teach us to be faithful in little things. May our work be honest, our hands diligent, and our hearts generous and kind. Guide us through every decision from this moment on. Protect our families from the trap of greed and the pressure of haste. We trust in your provision as we act with responsibility. May our lives reflect your wisdom. Multiplication starts with the wisdom you apply today. Do not wait for a large amount to be faithful. Start with what is in your hands right now. True stewardship creates a lasting legacy that will inspire those who come after you to walk in the same light and truth forever.